The Olympics inspired my parents to put me in gymnastics. Ended up loving it, going to power tumbling. Everyone's doing the same things, but those who want to make big progress are the ones putting more effort into conditioning, right? Like the strength training. We got to compete in the Olympic Stadium for the year, like the 2021 Olympic Games. Like face planted at competitions, like belly flop. I'm a little bit sad that it's over, but I'm happy that it happened. Like I'm happy gymnastics happened overall. I think you really need to enjoy what you're doing to be good at what you're doing.
Welcome back to the Inspobrew podcast, where we stir passion and sip innovation. The premise of this podcast is that I'll be having coffee chats with inspiring guests who are living outside of their comfort zones and are taking things one step further to create an impact. And on this episode, I'm incredibly excited to be talking with previous National Level Power Tumbler and currently computer science student at the University of Waterloo, and one of my rowing teammates, Helen Dong. Helen, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Julia.
So can we actually go back to talking about how I found you? So I was following the U Waterloo rowing account, and when they posted the novice rowing tryouts promo on their Instagram, I gave it a like, and I also ended up looking through who else liked it, and you were one of the other accounts. So I ended up clicking on your username, and right from the start, your tumbling video that you have on your profile caught my attention. As someone who was obsessed with tumbling and gymnastics, I was instantly inspired by you, and the first thing that came to mind is she needs to be my next guest. My plan was to reach out to you, asking if you wanted to meet up, but that didn't even have to happen because little did I know we both tried out for the rowing team and are now teammates.
Yep.
Helen, you're so strong, intelligent, yet so humble, and I'm so excited for this conversation because even though we see each other every day, very bright and early at practice, I feel like I haven't had the chance to fully get to know you and your story. So today is going to be the day we dive deep into who you are.
Sounds good. I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
It's exciting. Okay. So I want to start off by asking you, can you take us back to the beginning of your tumbling career? What or who inspired you to start power tumbling?
Yeah, okay. So I didn't actually start in power tumbling itself. I started in the more mainstream gymnastics, right? Tumbling is a niche category in gymnastics itself, but I started in the recreational gymnastics program at Oakville Gymnastics Club after my parents watched the 2008 Olympic Games. So they watched that. It was in Beijing. They watched the gymnastics event, loved it, and they're like, okay, I'm going to put my 4-year-old in gymnastics. So I went in, did that for roughly 3-4 years, just recreational. And the whole time they wanted to see if they had competitive artistic tryouts, which is the Olympic sport. They wanted to see if they had competitive tryouts for that because someone at my gym went to the Olympics as well. So they were seeing if is that a possibility? Could you get into competitive gymnastics? Well, because they had such a strong team back then, they didn't need anyone of younger age. So they never had competitive artistic tryouts. So the next best thing that they saw tryouts for was power tumbling. We had no clue what it was, but they enrolled me in it. I ended up, there were 5 tryouts. I didn't even make the first cut. But then I think someone didn't take the team. And so they retried out me. And then through that, I got onto the team I think I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I stayed in it till I was about 18 years old. So it lasted a long time. But I think the Olympics inspired my parents to put me in gymnastics. Ended up loving it, going to power tumbling. And then just teammates and other power tumblers have inspired me since then. But,
okay,
yeah.
You initially did the full gymnastic with the bars, the beam, and everything.
Recreational level of it. But yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I started in that.
Okay, and so your parents, they just kind of saw it in Olympics. They didn't do gymnastics previously. They had no background in it, or did they?
I think my mom did. My mom tells me she would flip around at recess or whatever, do cartwheels, handstands when she was younger. So she never got formally trained for it, but she did gymnastics of some sorts.
Do you remember when? Did they ask you? Or they just signed you up because you were young, right? They just wanted to
I feel they probably asked me, and I was probably enthusiastic about it, but I remember nothing from back then.
Oh, okay.
But enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
Oh, that's okay. Because I remember my parents, they also wanted me to sign me up when I was very young, but I was super
Mm-hmm.
anxious and nervous to do it. So it's nice how you started super young. Wow, that's awesome. And you just kept doing it and you really loved it, yeah?
Yeah, stuck with it for 10 years, so did like it.
So what did your training look like when you were actively competing? How did you stay motivated to consistently improve?
Yeah, trainings. What's nice about power tumbling is that we train a lot of hours, but not like competitive artistic gymnastics.
Mm-hmm.
We did about, at my peak, I think it was 14 hours per week, but all of our trainings were in the evenings, the late evenings. So it's not like I had to miss school, especially in high school. I did have to miss school to attend practice. My practices were like at 6:30 to 9:30 p.m.
Ooh, okay.
on the weekdays and once on the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah. And what was the second question following that one?
Yeah. How did you stay motivated to like stay consistent with that?
I think the motivation just comes from like enjoying the sport.
Okay.
So because I liked it, going to practices wasn't like a chore or anything. Going to competitions, that was fun. So I just maintained it throughout and enjoyed it the whole time.
That's so great. It's awesome how you're able to like find this passion. I mean,
Yeah.
like your parents pretty much like helped you. Like, yeah, they like.
My mom was like my personal Uber driver. She would like get off work at 4 p.m., pick me up at school, and then like send me to practice and then pick me up from practice. And the gym wasn't even very close to my house. It was like a 30-minute drive, but she would never watch because it was a pretty long training. So she'd just be back and forth.
So great. It's awesome. I feel like having like those supportive parents that like are also like really helps like keep going.
Yeah, you need that. Need that for sure.
You really do. Wow, that's awesome. And then it can also be like very, I'm assuming very like demanding, like mentally demanding, especially during competitions. Well, let's when was your first competition? How old were you when you first had your first competition?
First competition, I think I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got onto the team at around 7
to 8. Yeah.
And then that was like competitive team right away. And then
competitive team in the developmental program. So you're learning all the basics there. But we had small competitions. Yeah. I think bigger competitions started when I was 9, when I entered the provincial level.
Yeah. Okay, wait. The provincial level is what? So you're like competing like across
within Ontario.
Within Ontario. Okay.
Yeah. So I started developmental when I was 7, 8. Okay. Moved into provincial when I was 9-ish, 9 to 10, and then moved into national when I was like 12 or 13.
That's like very quick. Yeah, that was very.
There's not many levels actually. Like once you enter the provincial level stream, it's like level 1 to 4 is provincial, and then level 5 to senior is national. So there's not too much moving around. There's not too many levels, so you can progress through it pretty quickly.
Okay. Like, do you remember being in this first competition? Do you remember how like you felt? Like, were you like nervous for it, or do you remember like, or maybe not even first one? Like,
when I don't think I knew any better. I don't think I was nervous. I think I was just there for fun. Perfect. I think you get more nervous as you become more conscious of competition, right? Like, I think if I think back, I think the first time I was nervous was like 11 or 12 because I really knew what was happening and I knew what I was competing for. Whereas when you're like 9, you're like, I'm here for a good time and I don't even care if I mess up. Like I look back at videos and no, it was pure joy.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then, so you said like it started becoming a little bit more like serious as you were like a little bit older into the sport and you knew kind of, because you wanted to start getting like first, like, you know you kind of want to aim higher, right? You want to move up levels, place a little bit higher and do better at competitions. And then do you feel like your training kind of picked up? You were a little bit more like diligent with your like
much more disciplined, much more willing to put like work in. Because in trainings everyone's doing the same things, but those who want to make big progress are the ones putting more effort into conditioning, right? Like the strength training or really nailing down the technique and taking back comments from coaches. Okay. So I think I was about like 10 or 11 when I became more conscious of that and started doing that more. Okay. But, so
with the power tumbling then, so you're on the long trampoline type thing?
Basically. So if you think back at like artistic gymnastics, they've got the bars, beam, vault, and floor. Yeah. If we like narrow down on that floor, which is like a square, springy mat, think of it, you like extend that super long and make it narrow, and that's what the power tumbling strip is, and that's what I flip on. It's 30-ish meters long, 30 meters long, like 2 meters wide. Oh my God. Yeah.
It's like during training, do you so you mainly practice like your flips on like that? Do you also do like on the floor kind of?
Yeah, we're just still like, we travel around the gym a lot. There's the trampolines that we go on. There's something called a fast track or a power track that people call it. It's just a long trampoline. There's a tumbling floor that we flip on and compete on. And then we use all the other equipment in the gym. So there's still the bars there. Like we do chin-ups on those. Like we still make use of them, but not really focusing our attention on them.
Okay. Yeah. So going into like power tumbling then, are you glad you ended up doing that or not like the normal like gymnastics or?
For sure. I think I don't think I'd be very good at the normal gymnastics. Like I look back at it, I'm like, I don't think I'd be very good at beam or bars. But I think I've always just loved floor. Like even when I was watching the Olympics, I loved floor, and that's primarily what tumbling is. So I'm super happy with the decision.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then what was your do you have a favorite flip or move?
Favorite flip? I would say it's a double layout. So it's a double flip where your body's like fully stripped.
Okay.
So yeah. I love that. I love competing that skill. It's the most fun. I feel like it's the most freeing flip.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, okay. And then, so was there any moment where you felt like quitting? Like you did really love it, but is there any time where it was just so hard?
Yeah, I think for every high performance athlete, there's a time where you want to quit. There's sometimes where training doesn't feel fun anymore. And I think that hit me around, I don't know, maybe when I was 14 or 15. But in the end, I had big competitions coming up. I was pushing through them. I got through it. And I think once you pass, I don't know, those difficult times, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it. But you find you got to just relearn how to enjoy it. You got to find fun in it. You got to rely on your teammates, your coaches, everyone around you to really get back into the sport and really enjoy doing it. But I think definitely 14 or 15, I had the feeling of quitting, but I stuck through with it, and I'm super happy with the decision because I've got to travel the world since. So that's something I'm really happy
more about your experience with visiting so many countries later. But it's just okay. So moving back, so at the time, then your teammates, your coaches, your parents, they kind of helped keep you going. Would you say
For
then
sure.
really helped you their motivation? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So, would you then say so even though tumbling is very individual sport, there is teamwork involved,
There
right?
is a team aspect. Yeah, when you're training, you're still with your team. I was in the national team, there may be 10 to 15 of us. And so we would take turns, we would talk between runs, all of that. So yeah, there's still that camaraderie there.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. So achieving a national level status in any sport is a very big accomplishment. Can you describe, I think you kind of talked about the process already, and talk about the milestones that led you to become a national level power tumbler in Canada?
Yeah. So in our gym, at least, we start in the developmental program. From there, like I said, we start with the basics, move into, there's an interclub level where you compete with gyms in the area. I ended up skipping that one and going right into the provincial level. And then again, the 4 levels in provincial, you walk up that, hit national, and then you start growing from there. Okay. And yeah, that's the level system.
Okay.
But
and you kind of just are there tryouts in between that, or you just kind of the coaches kind of see that you're ready for it and they move you up to the next
there are yearly tryouts within the program. But if you're able to, so in each level there's a specific routine, or at least in the lower levels there's specific routines you have to meet. So level 1 is round off, which is kind of a cartwheel, 4 back handspring, so 4 backflips in a row. That's the standard of level 1. If you can do those, great, you're in level 1. But this is specifically what I'm talking about is the provincial level. Once you hit level 4, which is the last provincial level, you have to start qualifying for the levels above it. So they call it mobilizing, but you have to hit a certain score and a certain difficulty within your routines to move up to the next level. And if you hit those, great, you can move on, and then you just grow level 5, level 6, junior, senior.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So going into then kind of traveling the world, so you've had what was the first country you're able to go to because of this?
Yeah, the first one was Colombia in 2016, I think. It was for the Pan American Championships. I got to compete in the 13, 14-year-old category there. So that was very exciting. First time traveling alone, but with teammates and coaches. Yeah, without my parents. That's the first competition.
14, that's so fun. Honestly, wow. And then after that, then how many more, so after that, then how long was it until you went, travel to a different country?
Yeah, that was, I think, December. So I went to Colombia in November, December of 2016. The following year, I qualified to the World Age Group Championships, which are for it's the World Championships for younger athletes. And basically a year later, so November 2017, and that one was in Bulgaria.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what was your favorite out of all the countries? Wait, was it I forget the number, because I think I did remember counting. Was it 7? How many countries overall did you visit? Was it
overall? Let me think. So I've been to Colombia, Bulgaria, Russia was the next one, Japan, and Azerbaijan.
Okay.
I think that hits all of
And
them.
then wait, Montreal. Well, I guess this is here. Well,
in Canada,
Okay,
yeah, I've traveled around here and there, but
Okay.
outside of Canada, I think 5 countries I've traveled to.
Then what was your like favorite, would you say?
100% Japan. Japan,
Okay.
it was like, the competition was great. We got to compete in the Olympic Stadium for the year, like the 2021 Olympic Games.
Okay.
We got to compete there before the Olympic Games. So we were testing the stadium. That was pretty amazing. And then just because it was Japan, I got to travel. My family came and watched too. So I got to travel around with them and with the team. So I think that just made it like, it was both like an actual competition and like a sightseeing experience. So that was a lot of fun.
And then during those like competitions, is there any like anything you do before to like get ready? Is there something like a routine that you do to like mentally and physically prepare?
Yeah.
Like is there...
Yeah, I visualize my passes. So before I compete, like I close my eyes. And because I've done my routine so many times and I've practiced in the gym, in my head, like I can kind of see what I'm doing. Like I can see the floor in my head. I can see what it feels like when I'm flipping. And so I visualize me doing like a perfect competition pass. And then once that's done, I step up on the floor, like salute to the judges and finish that whole thing. Just hopefully execute what I've been seeing in my head. But it doesn't always go that way, but it's pretty fun. So that's what I do.
Were there any times then that you like fell or didn't stick the landing?
So many times. I've like face planted at competitions, like belly flopped. It's okay. It happens. I think my fondest memory was like Nationals 2019, I think. Like my high school teacher came and watched. She's a huge supporter of my gymnastics, love her. She came to watch my competition, but that was the one where I like fell. And you could hear in videos like the crowd going like, ooh, or like when you land. But it happens. It's all part of the sport.
Yeah. It's like, and then you have like the strength to like kind of like shake it off, like go back up.
Yeah,
and,
you
like,
gotta stand up, do another routine. You gotta finish. You gotta finish. It was my first routine that I fell on, and then we had 2 that day, and then 2 for finals. But this was preliminary rounds. Fell on my first routine. Got up, let everyone else take their turn, and I had to go for my second routine.
Okay, and by second routine, you mean like once again, like you're running, like you're tumbling through.
Same flip or different flips.
Different
flips. Yeah.
Oh, different flips. You have like different routines you're doing.
Routines. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't just do it like once. You have like multiple times where it's like, but it's just different, like sequences kind of like different.
Yeah, different skills within them. And then we have 4 routines in total. Okay. So we have 2 preliminary ones, 2 final ones. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, did you ever like injure yourself? Did you like break anything?
I would say, hold up.
Yeah.
I would say I've been pretty lucky. Knock on wood, though, on that one. I've been pretty lucky. I never seriously injured myself. The most severe one, which wasn't too severe, was, I think, August 2022. This is like recent. August 2022, I was on the trampoline. And I don't remember really what I did, but I ended up tearing my meniscus. So that was, I think, the most severe out of them all. I mean,
what's the meniscus?
It's in your knee.
Oh,
in your knee. It's in your knee. I don't know. I think it was the landing that I like messed up my knee on, but I remember hearing something and I was like, nah, it'll be fine. Like I'm shaking it off. My coach was like, you're not fine. I was not fine. Oh yeah, that's the most severe. I mean, you like jam your fingers sometimes here and there, but nothing too bad for me. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
And how has your experience as a competitive tumbler influenced your life beyond the gym? Are there any like valuable skills or lessons you gained from the sport?
Yeah, I feel like if you talk to anyone and ask them like about my skills, they're going to be like, oh, she's responsible. She like manages her time. You can see that even with rowing. Mm-hmm. But I think a huge one is just time management and discipline. Even like I was doing, like I said, I did gymnastics for so many years. I did it all throughout high school. I even did it during my first year of university. So managing like homework, extracurriculars, and then going to tumbling, huge part of my life there. And then discipline, you know, just like failing over and over again, kind of overcoming that, always improving, looking for improvement. That's all from, I got that all from gymnastics. That taught me everything.
That's so great. And I feel like a sport could teach you even so much more than like school, I feel like.
Yeah, I can agree to that. I can agree to that. Yeah.
With like discipline, I don't know, like how how could school teach? I guess school could also teach you discipline, but it's different with the sport, because with the sport, like, that's in addition to school, and then that's like it's like you're finding that time, like extra time to like, So I feel like, would you say it was like a job for you? Yeah. Would you?
I guess you could
I
say
mean,
it was a fun. It was a fun job
job
that I enjoyed. But yeah, you could say that. I mean, 14 hours a week, almost like a part-time job. You also can like train outside of the gym. So all of that combined, roughly 20 hours.
Yeah. And how was like? Did you? Then you had like all your like friends in the gym. Like you met your like lifelong.
Oh yeah, I have a friend. I would room with this one person. Her name's Emily. I'd room with her at every single competition. Like, we'd both qualify to the World Championships together. We'd be roommates, or at Nationals, we'd be roommates. So I met a lot of close friends there. And it's not just people like my age. I have friends who are a couple years older than me, many years younger than me. So you meet people from various walks of life, too, just through gymnastics. So it's pretty amazing.
Wow. Not only, like, from the team, but you're also, like, when you're traveling, you're meeting other like gymnasts. And
You have international friends. You got friends all across Canada. So it comes from everywhere. Yeah. They come from everywhere.
Oh, yeah, you must know like so many people. For, like,
pretty cool. Cool looking at like a snap map and seeing like locations, but yeah.
So I think you already touched on this a little bit, but you had to do school on top of that as well. And so how did you have any like things you did, like how did you manage your academic responsibilities while training? Did you, what advice do you have for students facing similar challenges right now, if they're like, training at the gym?
I would say, again, for me, because my trainings were so late, it really wasn't too big of a conflict. Like I'd finish school at maybe 2:30, 3:30-ish, maybe do extracurriculars to 4, and I'd have a few hours in my day to work on school. It was sometimes difficult here and there, like to prepare for exams or assignments, quizzes, whatever that might be. But I think if you talk to your teachers, they can be very accommodating. But you get used to it. I don't know. It's kind of like entering university. First year is super tough. But like over time, you just get used to it. And you just learn from those experiences. Oh, I've got to start my assignments early. Oh, I've got to start studying for this earlier. But you kind of adapt and go through that. I'd say if I had advice to give, start things earlier. I learned that the hard way. But start things earlier. Don't be afraid to like talk to your teachers or classmates if you need help for anything. They're always willing to help out there. But communicating what you're feeling.
Okay. And I feel like you had a kind of head start to like almost university life. I don't know. I feel like once you got into university, it was just a lot easier for you to, would you say, adjust to that, like that workload, because you kind of.
I would say so. Yeah. I think just knowing how to manage my time. I would say first year for me, I feel like it'd be different for us a little bit just because of COVID, right? It was kind of online, kind of in person. So I don't think the transition was as difficult as it could have been. But I think gymnastics and school in high school had prepared me well for the transition.
So you mentioned that you're no longer tumbling. What led you to your decision to step away from competitive tumbling?
I think it naturally happened, especially when COVID kind of settled down a little bit, got back into school full-time, living on campus, going to gymnastics every day for a couple hours, kind of infeasible. It's a little bit far. It's like an hour and a half drive. I don't think I can manage going back and forth all that often, but it naturally happened. It's not, I'm a little bit sad that it's over, but I'm happy that it happened. Like, I'm happy gymnastics happened overall. I'm happy with how I ended and where I ended and what competitions I ended on. So it's not something I regret quitting. I don't regret quitting at all. But again, naturally, it just naturally happened. I didn't really attend practices because I couldn't, the circumstances, but now, I picked up on other sports. Maybe we'll touch on that later, but hit the gym, still exercising, still living a healthy, active lifestyle. So that's good.
Yeah, I love how, so even though you're like still really active, so alongside gymnastics, did you also do any sports like in school?
Yeah.
Well? Oh my gosh.
I would say I was known as like the athletic kid in high school. It's not like I'm proud of it, but I did volleyball throughout high school, track and field. I did sprint events, and jump events, so hurdles, triple jump and long jump. That was kind of my thing. I did flag football for a year. I did ultimate frisbee. I think that might be it. I mean, there's other sports thrown in there, but Yeah, those were my primary sports.
That's so many primary sports for me. What did I do? I did a little bit of gymnastics, dance, and then karate a little bit.
Karate, that's cool. That's cool.
Would you, okay, so, but I feel like, so then doing gymnastics, that really helped you excel in all other sports, right?
I would think so. I think there's like a correlation there. I think there's a relationship there.
Okay, yeah. Because you did like, volleyball, and you liked high jump, long jump.
I did long jump and triple jump. I think gymnastics definitely help with that. I think the power and like strong legs kind of fit that particular category in that sport. Volleyball, I don't know. I just liked it forever. Like I did it in middle school and elementary school. So maybe gymnastics helped in that. Maybe the jumping as well. Yeah, and also sprinting, because you say you love short distance better than long distance. I do. Rowing was definitely a change, but I do like short distance events. No, like it's when I was running the 100-meter in high school. Like when I'd run it, I would like have a super fast first like 30 meters. Okay. This is in relation to my power tumbling, right? The power tumbling floor is 30 meters long. I was good at holding 30 meters. I quickly decelerated. I would say gymnastics. The first 30 meters, it's all gymnastics. That speed is from there. That power is from there. Because you really do need that, like, because you start with, like, you're running, and then near the end, that's when you started doing, like, your round of your cartwheel or whatever, like, you round off, and then you go into I would say gymnastics overall, or power tumbling itself, is a very anaerobic sport. Like, you don't breathe. I don't breathe when I'm flipping. Or I don't think I breathe. Who knows? I don't think I breathe when I'm tumbling. So in, like, sprinting events, when you're, like, at least in the first bit, I'm not breathing. So. It goes by so quickly. Would you say, like, it's just like my routines are like for gymnastics they were like 6-7 seconds long. Yeah, they were really short. Well, it's good that you had like 4, like more than one. Yeah, you had more than one shot. Then, yeah. Do you feel like you were ever like missing out on like other things with your gymnastics? I mean, I know you did say like you had like practices were evenings, so you had like a full day, but do you ever feel like because maybe sometimes your friends were like going somewhere, like you feel like you had to like, because gymnastics was your priority, right? So you had to sacrifice other things. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of missing out, but because I loved tumbling so much, it really didn't feel like I was missing out on much. Like practices were incredibly fun. So not hanging out with my friends, I mean, I see them in school, all that, but it didn't ever feel like I was missing out on too much. I wasn't missing out on like a childhood or anything. It didn't feel like that. Okay. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, and you had like all your teammates, all your friends. Yeah, I would say my closest friends came from gymnastics. Yeah. Okay, so what advice would you give to young athletes who aspire to reach the level of excellence you achieved in tumbling? And then what qualities do you think are essential for success in the sport? I would say through my experience, just having fun. I mean, it's very cliche, but I think you really need to enjoy what you're doing to be good at what you're doing. I think, like I was saying, when I was 14 or 15, I kind of lost that passion for gymnastics for a bit of time, and it really did feel like a chore at the time. But I also knew I wasn't seeing as much progress. Like in that time period, there was little progress compared to when I started enjoying it and found my enjoyment of the sport again, or like compared to when I was younger, when I really, really enjoyed the sport. So there's that, having fun. What was the second question? And then what qualities do you think are essential for success? Because I mean, not everyone reaches the level you've reached. And so do you feel like you got like lucky, or like were you like you're just naturally talented with like? No, I don't think I was lucky. You should have seen me my first year of power tumbling. It was not that great. I don't think I was lucky. Quality wise, I think you just need to be someone who's very coachable. Okay. If a coach gives you advice, don't take it with like a grain of salt. Like really understand what they're trying to tell you and really trying to apply that to what you're doing, because they're there for you. Right? They're not going to give you advice that's not going to help you. So if you apply that, you'll see immense progress. And if you're someone coachable, the coach loves to coach you in the first place. You're going to enjoy what you're doing. So again, kind of ties back to just seeing that immense progress because you like what you're doing. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and I think I really agree how it's like if you want to be good at something, you also kind of want to love it. I mean, because there's going to be times where you might not want to do it, but then it comes back to like the reason why you like started. I think a lot of people lose passion for or quit sport because they just don't enjoy it anymore. So it's sad to see, but it does happen. Yeah.
Which is like, I think it's like, again, like, I feel like it's natural. Like people, go through phases, some people like, they go through like sports or go through hobbies like really quickly. And then some people just stay committed and stay through it. So it's good that you're able to like, did you like notice throughout your times, did you see other people like leaving? Were you like,
there was a lot of fluctuation, like even within my team. Well, one thing is we're not all the same age. So a lot of students or a lot of athletes quit when they finish high school or when they're entering like their grade 11 or 12 year, when they start like having to focus, or they say focus on academics. So a lot of people quit at maybe grade 11 or so, right from a grade 11 to first year of university. But the groups are always changing. Like I had really close friends when I was like maybe in grade 9. I had really close friends who were in grade 12. And then after that, they graduated, they left. Well, there's a whole new group of athletes coming up. So you'll always find friends, but people leave, come and go.
Makes sense, So Helen, you're also a computer science student who has worked at a prestigious tech company such as Google. What skills or lessons, lessons as a tumbler did you believe have been the most transferable to your work in software engineering?
Most transferable. I would say I'd go back to the coachability. In terms of work, it's not coachability, but teachability, how quick you'll take someone's advice, or if you ask for help, how quickly you apply that help. Especially in software engineering, where you can write code, right, and get stuck. Well, you need someone else's help. You go to them, they give you advice, and you got to quickly apply that, right? So I think in terms of working in tech and applying my gymnastics skills, that comes into play. I would say, again, going back to time management, organization, responsibility, that all has something to do in life. You'll need that anywhere. So,
And also, like on top of like coachability and teachability, like being a fast learner, do you think you were through like through tumbling, you were able, like, were you like a fast, so if a coach, told you like to correct this, would you like correct it like kind of instantly? Were you like a fast learner in that sense? Or it depends. A little
bit. It depends. I think, especially with advice giving, when you're receiving advice from coaches, the way they explain it has a lot to do with how you digest it, understand it. So for me, I've always been kind of like have you done like those learning skills where you're like, oh, you're a kinesthetic learner, like an auditory learner, whatever that is? I think I'm a kinesthetic learner. So I have to kind of feel what's going on. So if my coach gives me advice and I try to apply it in maybe a couple runs, like I do 2 or 3 more turns, and I'm not seeing improvement there, we like find ways to alter how they give me that feedback to find a way that works for me and that I can apply it. But if something doesn't work, I make sure I'm vocal about it. And so we can always adjust and find new ways to help me get to where I want to be. So same thing with work. If someone gives me advice or is giving me feedback and I can't really apply, I don't know how to apply it, I'm always going to go back for more clarification and go on from there. Yeah.
And then, so I guess we can talk a little bit about, so now you transitioned to rowing, and that's really exciting. I feel like, would you say it's a very different sport compared to all the other sports you've done?
For sure. I had never really done cardio. It's athletic stuff. Yeah, I guess. But I never really had to feel lactic acid. Okay. Like when we're rowing, sometimes you get to like the 5-minute, 10-minute mark and you're like, okay, I'm getting really tired. My legs are burning. Everything's burning. Yeah. I hadn't really experienced that really. I mean, through track and field, just like from practices running, but nothing ever so lengthy. Like our races, I mean, they vary, like they're over 8 minutes, and that like doing exercise, like extreme exercise for that long is not something I experienced in the past.
Okay. So this is like
this is a whole change.
It was an adjustment, but you're doing so well. I mean, you adjusted to it. Like, would you say it's been what, like 2 months?
Not even 2 months. It's been like a month and a week or something since we started. But I love running.
Right? Did you fall in love with it? Yeah. Do you think you did?
I did love it. I do love it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, because the races. I mean, because with the tumbling, I mean, again, it's like it's so quick. It's like 7 seconds. And so there's never a chance in your mind where it's like, oh, I want to give up. Like with rowing or something with like long like cardio, there are times where your mind is like, oh, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's a very mentally challenging sport as well. Yeah.
Okay, so would tumbling and gymnastics be a mentally challenging sport too,
It is on the sideline. Like if you're waiting for your turn, it's mentally challenging, right? But like when you're in your routine, there's not much to think about, honestly. Like the 6-7 seconds happen so quickly. One thing I really do love about rowing is that you always have like a second chance. What I mean by that is in power tumbling, you're doing your routine, it goes wonky halfway in, like in the 3-second mark, right? If you stop in your routine, you can't really pick up where you left off on. So it's like if you stop in the middle of your routine, you're done. You like salute to the judges, you move back, wait for your next turn. But with rowing, it's like if I catch a crab, right? Like the oars get stuck. Yeah. Well, I've got to pick it back up and keep going. So it's like, and there's the rest of the team you're doing it for. It's not an individual sport. So that's something I also love about it.
Yeah, well, oh yeah, that's true. Like there's a bigger like team aspect with it. It's like you're also kind of, you don't want to let anyone down.
Exactly.
And so you have to kind of keep going. Yeah, you can't stop.
I really love the team part of the sport.
Team sport. Yeah.
It brings me back to like volleyball, but I love team sports.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, and it's nice how you're able to try out individual and team sports. Like you just got the full experience everywhere. Yeah. So, what would you say is like next for you in terms of like sport and also like career wise? Like where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like what would your ideal life look like?
My ideal life. I think I would say I want to still be doing sports or staying active. I think that's a huge part of who I am. So, I mean, whether that's going to the gym or even continuing rowing or picking up another sport, whatever it might be, want to stay athletic, want to keep all my fitness up. In terms of work, I don't know, wherever life takes me, honestly. Obviously exploring more with my degree, so studying CS, computer science. Definitely want to work in industry longer through co-ops, internships, and after graduating. But I also, in like 5 years from now, I don't want to say education is off the table. Like maybe I want to pursue post-grad. I'm not sure about that yet, but we'll see wherever life takes me.
Exactly, right? Like there's so many opportunities, like things could like change, and it's just like, it's like a mystery. And I feel like it's nice that you have like an idea where you want to be, but then
just enjoy the journey to wherever I end up. Exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. So Helen, what can't you do? So not only do I view you as a top level athlete, but you're also a top level student. Just goes to show that how you do one thing is how you do everything else. If you learn how to be disciplined in one thing, then it becomes easier to become disciplined in other areas. It all connects. The question is, are you willing to improve in areas you may be lacking in? Now, a reflection question to end this conversation. What area do you want to become better disciplined in? Is it going to the gym every day, making sure you're in bed by 10 p.m.? Do you have an area where you want to be better disciplined in?
Getting more sleep. I'll be very honest. I'm not getting enough sleep. Oh, no. But something I'm going to work on, especially because we're waking up so early for practice now, right? I used to be a very late night sleeper. I've been improving. I've been seeing improvement over time in this past month, definitely. But getting that 8 hours of sleep is something I strive for. Yes. That's what my goal will be.
I mean, it's props to you too, because like computer science is a very tough like program. Would you say like you have so many assignments? And
it depends on who you ask. Okay. I find it pretty challenging, but it's something I do enjoy.
On top of that, like you have going to even though our practices are like our morning, so there it's still like I don't know. It still seems like a really like time consuming almost.
It is very time consuming, but I mean as long as we enjoy it, it's good. But 5:30 practices whenever that
But then wait, gymnastics, did you ever have to wake up super early then?
Yes. At one point during COVID, when you could only have a couple people in the gym, right, because of the person, like there was 20 people capacity type of thing. We ended up training at like 6:30 to 8:30 in the mornings, like once a week. So that was the only time I ever had to do early morning practice, but happened for a few months.
Then this is like, these early morning practices are like
a little earlier then.
Because we have our regatta this Saturday, and we have to be, the bus is leaving at 5 a.m., so we have to be on campus at 4:45.
Yep, more early mornings. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. But like, I feel like, have you like adjusted that, like waking up early then?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm waking up before my alarms now. Like I have my alarm set for example, if I have my alarm set at like 4:30, I'm up at somehow, I don't know how, I'm up at 4:29. So
Nice.
it's my inner alarm clock waking me up, but I'm getting very used to waking up early and I'm really liking it.
That's good. Now, you did say you're a very like deep sleeper, yeah?
Yeah.
So if
I am
an
a deep
alarm
sleeper,
goes
fun
off.
fact. Yeah.
So like, because for me, it's like I'm not a deep sleeper. So if I hear like small noise, and I'm like completely like awake right away.
No, at our last race, like the people in my boat who I was rooming with, we all had our alarms set for the same time. At the time, they all woke up. They were all closing their alarms. I just slept through it. I only got up when like the person I was sharing the bed with stood up and got out, and I was like, oh, morning. And they like looked at me and they're like, we've been up.
Wow, I guess that's like a good thing that you are, because you can sleep anywhere. Can you sleep on like the planes?
Yeah,
can you sleep,
I can sleep on planes. I've slept in SLC. I've slept here.
No way.
Yeah, it's power naps, but I can fall asleep pretty much anywhere.
So you're getting a good amount of sleep.
Yeah, throughout the day. I have naps here and there, so that's going good.
Nice. So anyways, I want to say for me though, what I want to become better disciplined in. So for me, I want to start things a little bit earlier. So like kind of like you said, just like starting things earlier, like studying my course material at least a week before like an exam or a midterm, because I didn't do that for my last business exam, and like the results spoke for themselves. I didn't get the mark yet, so I don't know if I passed or failed, but that's a big thing I want to focus on. Like I feel like the time management is there, but then I still just need to start things earlier. So I mean, hopefully rowing can I think
you're gonna get there. You're going to get there. Rowing will teach you enough.
I've never had like any like, I did like recreational sports, but I've never done any like team like competitive sport where like you need more time for that.
I believe in you. You got it. I believe in you.
Thank you. But anyways, thank you so much, Helen. This is such an enjoyable conversation. We definitely stirred passion and innovation. At least I feel so much more motivated after our conversation. And I hope all of you feel inspired to keep reaching towards your goals as well. Until next time. Bye.